Hello, and welcome back to English for You. I'm Seb.
And I'm Kat.
And we've been talking a lot about Hualien's daylilies, about flowers in our previous day of the unit. So this actually got me thinking, Kat, like we often give flowers as gifts, right? Like people give them for birthdays and anniversaries. Do you ever give flowers as a gift, or do you ever receive them as a gift?
I know that I've sent Mother's Day bouquets to my mom before, and it's like one of the only things I can do, since I'm so far away from her. But in terms of like getting flowers, I like to get flowers, but my girlfriend is so practical and non-romantic that if I ask her to get me flowers, she'll like hound me saying like, "Oh, what kind of flowers do you want? Do you like this kind or this kind?" And she'll send me links for like the kind of bouquet she can get me. I'm like, why don't you just surprise me? She'll do this for birthdays too. Like she'll ask me like, "Oh, do you like this gift or this gift?" I'm like, "Don't tell me what you're getting me."
Oh, that's funny that you say that. I actually have a friend who actually hates getting flowers as gifts, especially orchids. She hates getting orchids, lanhua. So she says
they're hard
it's
to
because
take care of?
Yes, she says they're gorgeous. You get given a beautiful thing, and no matter what you do, it will die.
That's true. That's true. I would prefer to get a live plant.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, some people like to get them. I personally love it when somebody gets me flowers. But yeah, apparently not everybody. Anyway, we're still talking about one specific kind of flower, Hualien's daylilies. So let's get back into our article and continue with day 2.
Okay.
Reading.
The golden glow of Hualien's daylilies. One of the best places to see Hualien's daylilies is Liushidan Mountain in Fuli Township. The mountain's fertile soil means that it is ideal for growing produce. This may be one of the reasons why so many daylilies can be found here. Liushidan's daylilies flower between August and September, and the fields glow orange as far as the eye can see. In addition to walking the mountain trails, you can taste the daylilies. Their golden stems are fried and served as tasty snacks. They are also added to delicious soups you can try at many local shops. Liushidan might be most famous for its flowers, but after dark, another natural treasure can be found here. At night, the mountain's remote location makes it a marvelous place for stargazing. Sometimes you can even see the Milky Way. Like the golden glow of Hualien's daylilies, this natural light show is a sight you can't miss.
All right, so our article today starts out by saying one of the best places to see Hualien's daylilies is Liushidan Mountain in Fuli Township. Now, you were saying, Seb, that this is where you saw them, right?
Yes, yeah. I didn't know you can actually see these flowers in a lot of other different places too. So I think there's another one also in the Huadong Valley, and then a mountain in Taidong, which is also covered in these flowers. So you've got a few options if you want to travel around and see Hualien's daylilies.
Okay.
So this article goes on by telling us why Liushidan is so famous for its daylilies. It says, the mountain's fertile soil means that it is ideal for growing produce. Now, we've got this word fertile here, which is an adjective, and it means basically soil or earth where things grow easily. So, any kind of farm that you see, which is, got loads of crops and all of these different foods growing out of the ground, that's probably got fertile soil, right? Because it's got, a lot of things growing in it. If farmers want to make the soil extra fertile, they can use a product called fertilizer, which is basically it could be chemicals or it could be, little bits of dead matter, which make the soil better for growing things. So basically that's what it is. Here's an example sentence for fertile. The villagers traveled south because they heard the land was fertile there, but when they arrived, they discovered it was barren. Barren there just means the opposite of fertile, so nothing grows in that kind of land.
And you can talk about this, you can use these two words, fertile and barren, to talk about like mothers that can or cannot have babies too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's basically something growing inside of something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about what is fertile or fertile. It's the soil that we're talking about on this Liushidan mountain. So soil is a noun that just means dirt. And it's what most of the earth is covered with. And usually it's dark. It's made from organic matter, like, broken down animals and plants, things like that. Farmers need lots of it, and it can be good or bad quality. So, if you have fertile soil, then your soil is going to be really good for growing things. If you have barren soil, it's really dry, it has no nutrients, it's probably really dusty, and it's not good for growing. So, so other things you can use to talk about soil, or things that are similar to soil, would be like mud, that's like soil combined with water. Earth, also another name for soil. There's also clay. Clay is a kind of soil which is made up of more like, I guess, like really, really fine sand, and it's used to make pottery and things like that. Of course, you also have sand, which is not soil. It's made of tiny little bits of rock that if you put it under a microscope, you'll see lots and lots of little rocks and shells. That's what sand is. So we're talking about soil here. An example sentence could be, the soil is very rich. That means fertile. So it will be great for planting tomatoes and other vegetables.
Good sentence there. So we've also got this word ideal as well. That's another one of our vocab words for today. It's an adjective, and when something is ideal for a purpose, it is perfect for that purpose. So for example, the weather today is ideal for a trip to the beach. It actually is. Right now I'm looking out my window and it's a gorgeous blue sky. That's ideal weather for going outside, splashing around. I wish we could.
Yeah, one of these days.
Yeah, one of these days, eventually. But yes, that's ideal weather. Anyway, the article goes on by saying this may be one of the reasons why so many daylilies can be found here. So this is talking about that fertile soil. And we've got a grammar point here, haven't we?
Yes, we do. So it's the reasons why. Now, it might sound strange to say the reasons followed by why, which is a question word, but this actually shows somebody's cause for doing something, or the reason that something happens. So if you ever get pulled over by the police for speeding, they might ask you, do you know the reason why I pulled you over? And if you don't say you do. So do you know the reason why something? That's like asking a question. It's like, do you know why? Or you could say the bad weather is the reason why we canceled our trip. So that means that we canceled our trip because the weather was bad. The bad weather was the reason why. You can also use the reason why as a noun phrase with is that. So you can say the reason why something happens is that, and then finish it with another phrase. So for example, the reason why I learned Spanish is that it's useful in my daily life. In other words, I learned Spanish because it's useful in my daily life. So we say it like this when we want to emphasize or put more importance on the cause of something, and not just say because that can sound kind of neutral. So that's why we'd use the reason why.
Exactly. So the article continues by talking about when you can go see these flowers on Liushidan. It says Liushidan's daylilies flower between August and September, and the fields glow orange as far as the eye can see. Okay, so actually, fun fact, if you go to Liushidan, I think in January and February, it's also a different color because they grow another set of flowers. I think rapeseed flowers.
Oh, like the little yellow ones, right?
The little yellow ones. And so it's very yellow in January and very orange in August. So those are times you can go and see lots of pretty flowers on Liushidan. Anyway, we saw that they glow orange during August and September. Now, glow is a verb to mean to shine with a soft and steady light, okay? So think about candles, or at least that's what I think of whenever I think of glowing. Candles glow when they are lit, they have a kind of a soft, warm light They're not like, it's not like a flashlight going straight in your eyes that dazzles you, you know, it's very soft, very, very tame. So, you know, fires as well would be another example of something that glows. So our example sentence is actually, the wood fire glowed a warm red-orange light as it became weaker and weaker. Okay, so in this sentence, the fire is dying out. It's going to go out soon. And so the light isn't very strong. It's just glowing. It's just giving off a little bit of light. Now, we can also use glow in some other ways too. We can use it as a noun. So we can talk about a soft glow, you know, a warm glow, a cool glow. Or we can also use it as a verb to mean that somebody appears very happy or very healthy. So you might hear people say, you're glowing. And that kind of means you look really beautiful or you look really happy, depending on the situation.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's, we learned that the mountain glows orange, which, yeah, I guess that, you know, a bright color like orange would kind of give off its own light and be very bright. So, yeah, as far as the eye could see or can see is another phrase that we use here. If you're talking about something as far as the eye can see, it means it's everywhere in front of you, from the nearest place to you to the farthest place. So, like, as far as you can see, you just see orange flowers. So you can't see the end of where the fields are glowing with orange flowers. Yeah.
Exactly. So the article goes on to say, in addition to walking the mountain trails, you can taste the daylilies. Oh, so it looks like we're going to be, Kat, you were saying that you've eaten them before, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is going to tell us a little bit more about that. First, though, we need to look at this phrase, in addition to. So in addition to, well, addition means basically that we're adding or putting something onto something else, you know? So when we use the phrase in addition to, we're showing that there is extra information coming, okay? So in addition to one thing, another thing. Like in this example sentence, in addition to cooking, Emma loves to spend her free time reading books. Okay, so here there's two things that Emma likes to do. She likes to cook and she likes to read books. We could just say Emma likes to cook and read books, but when we put in addition to at the beginning, we don't just tell the reader that they should expect two things. We also kind of put on emphasis that Emma really enjoys cooking and that she has multiple interests.
Yeah, exactly. So in addition to walking the mountain trails, you can taste the daylilies. But first, before we talk about how they taste or what you can do with them, you need to talk about the word trails. This is our next vocab word here. A trail is a noun for like a dirt walking path for people going on foot or on bike through the wilderness, especially on mountains or through the hills. You would call them things like hiking trails if you're going up a mountain, or biking trails if they're especially made for mountain bikers. Now, the question is, are the roads up the mountains around Taipei trails? Because a lot of them have stairs and stones and they're not made of dirt. Do you think they qualify as trails?
I don't know. I do think this every time I go to a mountain and I find there's a staircase to the top.
And people say hiking, and I'm like, you're not really hiking. You're just walking.
It's not hiking, no. It's walking. You know, going up Elephant Mountain to me is walking, not hiking. Yeah. Because you go up
it's a walk up a mountain.
Path.
Yeah, exactly. If it was a dirt path, then it would be hiking.
Exactly. I'm sure there are some great dirt paths on Elephant Mountain. If you do a bit of research, you can probably find a different way up to the top.
I haven't seen any, but sure.
Oh, okay, maybe not. Probably, not definitely.
Other mountains in Taiwan, I'm sure that there are plenty of hiking options.
Yes,
like you know, Yanminshan or like Yushan. Yeah,
definitely
for sure. So yeah, trails, they have to be dirt.
Yes,
that's what
they have to be dirt. Do we have an example sentence for trail?
Yes, we walked along the trail for a few kilometers until we found a good place to camp.
Ooh, very nice. Okay, so moving on. We've got to learn a little bit more about eating these daylilies, don't we?
Yes, exactly. So the article says their golden stems are fried and served as tasty snacks. Yeah, so I guess you can fry the stems of daylilies. The ones I had were actually the flowers, so they were orange. But maybe this is a different way to prepare them. So the stems are not the flower part. The stems are the thin part of a small plant that it's above the ground and the flowers and leaves grow off of. So the stem is like the long, thin part right before the flower.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
kind of like a trunk on a tree, but it's, all...
But tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And green. Yeah.
Tiny and green, exactly. Those are the stems. Oh, and this next sentence looks very tasty. It says, they are also added to delicious soups you can try at many local shops.
Oh, yeah. So the one that I tried might not have been a soup. It might have been stir-fried, actually. I think it was kind of stir-fried and covered in sauce. It was really tasty.
Ah, okay. So it seems there's a lot of different ways of preparing these daylilies.
Yeah, in traditional different ways. Like I think the indigenous people prepare them certain ways, and maybe local,
Like fry them.
Taiwanese. Yeah. So the article says Liu Shidan might be most famous for its flowers, but after dark, another natural treasure can be found here. And it's not actually on the mountain, is it?
No, it's not. It's above the mountain. The article says, at night, the mountain's remote location makes it a marvelous place for stargazing. Wow. Okay, that does sound amazing. Because I don't know if you experience this, Kat, but I always notice whenever I go back home that there's so many more stars in the sky than I'm used to when I'm in Taiwan, because Taiwan is very urban and there's a lot of streetlights. You can't see the stars.
There's a lot of light pollution. Anytime I can see even a few stars in Taipei, I'm like, wow. Yeah. Which is kind of sad.
It is kind of sad. It is kind of sad. But if you go to remote places, remote is just something that's very far away, in the countryside or just difficult to get to. Normally, you'll be able to see a lot more stars because there's less light pollution. So if you go to Hualien, Taidong, you can see a lot more stars in the sky. So we've got this word location, and that just means it's a noun that means a place, or specifically the place where something happens. So location normally is kind of specific to whatever you're talking about. Okay, so Taipei's location makes it have quite a warm climate because it's located quite far south. We're in a subtropical area, and so Taiwan's climate is quite warm. Another sentence is this one. This hotel's location right on the beach makes it very popular with summer tourists. So just the fact that this location is on this hotel is on the beach, or this hotel on the beach is very popular with tourists, basically.
So marvelous is this word that means very, 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 very good. It's one of those many, many adjectives for very, very good that we have in English. Like we have wonderful, amazing, astounding, astonishing, fantastic, fabulous, all of these. These are all the same meaning as marvelous, just very, very good. So if you look at something in amazement and wonder, you kind of feel its power. You go like, wow, you are marveling at it. That's why it's marvelous. So you can use it in an example sentence like this. We had a marvelous time at Disneyland last year, and the kids really want to go again. Yeah. And then we
also saw this word stargazing, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Yes. So stargazing, like I said, the stars are not on the mountain. Like you said, you can hardly ever see them in Taipei. But stargazing is gazing, or basically staring or looking at the stars. And sometimes, the article says, you can even see the Milky Way.
Okay, so the Milky Way, that's the pale band of stars that you can see across the sky in very rural places, okay? So for example, my grandma lives in a very rural place on the Scottish border, and sometimes you can see the Milky Way above her house in the evening because she lives in the countryside away from the streetlights. Normally, I've learned from experience, you can see the Milky Way when there's no moon. So if the moon is out, you can't see the Milky Way. But if the moon is not there, then you can see this beautiful kind of, it's almost like a mist through the sky.
Yeah, I've heard it compared to like a river of stars.
A river of stars, yeah. It's gorgeous, basically.
Yeah, it's an arm of the galaxy that we live in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're actually obviously we're inside the galaxy, and this is when there's no light at all, we can see where we are, basically, or look out at the rest of the galaxy from where we are. So it's a really amazing experience to be able to see the Milky Way. And so I really recommend, if you want to try and see it in Hualien, try and work out when there's going to be a full moon and then go, 1 or 2 weeks after that, because then you will see the Milky Way.
Yeah, you can use an app on your phone to see when the moon's going to be, dark, and then you can go to Liushidan and enjoy the view.
Exactly.
All right.
Enjoy the view above and below you.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got our last sentence. Like the golden glow of Hualien's daylilies, this natural light show is a sight you can't miss. Okay, a sight you can't miss. That's just a highlight, something that the article says you should really see, you must do. Okay. So, well, it certainly sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You look at the ground during the day, you see basically this glowing orange, kind of like the sun, fields of flowers, and then you look up at night and you see rivers of stars.
Exactly. It
definitely
sounds
can't miss it.
heavenly. It sounds marvelous.
It sounds fantastical.
Very, 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 very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's unfortunately, this is where we have to leave you guys. We have just enough time for a For You chat question, so don't go anywhere.
For You chat.
All right. Our For You chat question for today is, what other places in Taiwan are famous for their flowers? Can you think of any special flower festivals?
Hsinchu and Miaoli for their tongue blossoms, which are kind of a little bit like the cherry blossoms. They're lots of little white flowers on a tree, basically. But they don't cover the whole tree like you get with a cherry blossom. Instead, you just have like clumps of them.
Oh, really? I didn't
but they're
know
still
that.
they're very beautiful. They're very beautiful.
I've heard they're called snow in May.
Yes, because it does look
Yeah.
like it's snowing if you're walking down one of the trails.
Yeah, sounds beautiful.
And then also in Yangmingshan, they have their own kind of lily. I forget what they're called.
Calla lilies.
Calla lilies, right? The ones that grow in water. And if you go in March, you can go lily picking at the farms there. So they give you some Wellington boots, and then you can kind of go and wade around in the farms and pick flowers.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that come to my mind. Flower festivals, though, you know about the flower festivals, right?
I've been to the flower festival in Taichung like a couple of years ago. That was really, really great. And I know that the one before that was in Taipei. And I'm not sure if they still have the exhibits from it in both places, but definitely there's going to be another one within a couple of years. So, keep an eye out for where it might be. It'll probably be hosted in a different city. It'll be really interesting.
Exactly. Yes, It should be very interesting. And then, of course, for me, anyway, when I think of flowers, I always think of Django Flower Market in Taipei. For me, that's my favorite place to go to see flowers. Because,
it's great.
It's all of the people, all of the different plants that you can get there, all the different floral arrangements. For me, it's the ideal Saturday afternoon out.
Yeah, and it smells very good in there because, of course, it's filled with plants.
Flowers. Yes, exactly. Things to do when lockdown is over.
That's right. I hope by the time that they're watching this, there will be. We will see.
Fingers crossed for you guys. Fingers crossed for you guys. Okay, well, unfortunately, we have to go now, but we're already looking forward to our next article with you sometime in the near future. For English for You, I'm Seb.
And I'm Kat.
And we'll see you
next
again
time.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review. Soil. The roots of the plant reach down into the soil below. Ideal. Taipei's Da'an Forest Park is an ideal place to enjoy a picnic on a sunny day. Glow. James looked up and noticed one star was glowing more brightly than the others. Trail. Susan didn't get lost in the forest because she followed the trail right to her grandmother's house. Location. It might rain that day, so we decided to move the event to a location that's inside. Marvelous. The northern lights can be seen in many northern countries and are truly a marvelous sight.
智慧小补帖
fertile, fertile. Stem. Stargazing. The Milky Way.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net